Hello, Transurfer and the Transurfing Curious. My name is Renee Garcia, y'all. And this is TransurfingTV. And today on TransurfingTV, this is the video for Chapter 3 of A Tale of Practical Reality Transurfing by moi, Renee Garcia, and Lucy Coltrera. And this chapter is on the wave of fortune. Ding, 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 ding. I know a lot of people it's kind of this interesting dichotomy of people that come to stuff like this to gain and benefit and get money and get whatever else it is that, human beings want. And then I've also sort of noticed at the same time, there's a little bit of disbelief. And in something like the wave of fortune, like, oh, it's got to be a gimmick or, it's a whatever, like this idea that, things can be easy and things can come to you naturally and you can hit sort of circumstances that seem advantageous and auspicious and all that kind of stuff. I know for me personally, I'm sort of an interesting case in the sense that when I came to reality transurfing, the only knowledge that I really had about any of this type of stuff was that little book, The Secret, that came out about, 20 years ago. And I did actually have a little bit of luck with that. But other than that, I wasn't like a reality creation person or into manifestation or anything like that. So I didn't have like a bunch of go-arounds with this knowledge and maybe like succeeding sometimes and not succeeding. Or I see a lot of people in Law of Attraction and also Neville Goddard that are like trying to get stuff and they're not being successful. So I can kind of understand coming to transurfing and then sort of seeing the wave of fortune. This concept is pie in the sky, idea. But I have experienced pretty much from the get-go massive waves of fortune carrying all types of stuff. And I don't really talk about it too much in the community just because I come from another place where I was completely down and out. And I talk about this in the previous 2 chapters of my book. I grew up lower middle class, borderline poverty level, and don't have an education. I only have 1 year of high school. I didn't go to college. I wasn't handed anything in my life. And I sort of know that feeling still very well of being at the bottom. And I don't oftentimes talk about what it is that I've gained, especially material-wise, with this modality, simply because I don't want someone watching this that is really struggling right now to feel bad, right? And I think had I been exposed to this knowledge and if I had found something like TransurfingTV at my very bottom level and I was watching someone like me talking about the wave of fortune, I'd be like, bitch, fucking shut up. So I'm a little sensitive to other people's experiences of reality to the extent that I don't want to throw something out there that's going to cause a person to feel inadequate or lacking in some way. That being said, I have experienced so many different stages in my life, so many different life tracks, like I just touched on, from the bottom. Like I had it really, really bad at a certain point in my life. I was wildly in debt via someone else's malice against me, a really abusive husband that ran me into the ground financially. And I was just too naive and blind to see what was happening to me. Again, uneducated, no real life skills to make any money, and completely dependent, really, really dependent. And, you know, I want to express to anyone that is extremely challenged right now, because I know these are super challenging times, lots of energy shifting around, and people are finding themselves in circumstances that are not exactly, ideal. So I'm going to talk today about some of the things that I've gained, but more valuably, I'm going to talk about the things that I don't do any longer and the things that I do. And this is all fairly new. When I started my business in my late 20s and started to see success, and I've talked about this very openly, I still had extreme poverty mentality. In fact, as I moved through those life tracks, making more, gaining more, becoming more successful, my poverty mentality actually got worse. And I began to panic, like really panic, like a deep, unsettling feeling of absolute terror, because I sort of led myself to believe that all the stuff that I had suffered from in my life, depression, anxiety, extremely low self-esteem, low feelings of self-worth, desperation, all that kind of stuff, I was convinced that if I could just make some money, it would all go away. I would be happy. And this is really like a very darkly entertaining thing that I see a lot play out in this community, is people in the reality creation community, people that are like kind of destitute, and then they believe that if they make money, they'll be happy instantly. And, I don't want to laugh because it's not funny. It's not funny. But from my perspective, from my life experiences, I know for a fact that it does not work. And we've heard it a million times. Money doesn't buy happiness, right? We've heard this a million times as human beings. And it's so true. If you are looking for money to fill some type of hole, feelings of depression and, complacency and inadequacy, and if you think that money is going to suddenly help you to feel full and then you're going to start living your life, man, this is a rough road to hoe. I did this for a long time. As I just said, the more I became successful and the more money I made, the worse my poverty mentality got, because I thought that it would make me happy. I thought that it would fill all those voids. I thought that I would feel whole and satisfied and okay with myself. And it was kind of like this, I imagine this pit in the ground, and I just keep throwing money into it, and it just keeps disappearing. I mean, the money wasn't disappearing, but the hole was never filling up. And that hole was like, it was me, it was me. So this is kind of something that has to be truly experienced, I believe, for someone to kind of draw a line in the sand and be like, okay, there's got to be something else. And this is where I arrived to with this knowledge. So I'm in a very interesting position at this point in my life, because everything that I believed to be true about what money would do for my life ended up not necessarily being true, and that inner intention, striving, trying to just like get mine and having that sort of mentality, it really kept me from seeing what was truly meant for me, giving up on the ideas of money conventionally. And I know this sounds kind of weird, and I'm not asking anyone to be like, live in poverty or give up on, give up on conventional wealth. I'm just saying that for me personally, the means at actually creating wealth for myself, and also, more importantly, feeling wealthy, feeling whole, feeling like I'm not just trying to fill a deep, dark hole with something. All of this came about in a very, very different way than I led myself to believe that it would. And this is, and I have to be very careful talking right now about this subject. I'm really going to mind my words in this video, and you'll see me sort of like stop myself, because I see a lot of people come to reality transurfing with an objective that isn't necessarily intended for them, right? And then they go about taking the concepts, they try to layer it over that whole system that they've created to create the results that they want to see. But that old program is running viciously in the background. I want to have, and this isn't true for everybody. There's a lot of people in the transurfing community that have got this, right? But I do see a lot of people coming to this movement looking to get and being dissatisfied with reality and doing a bunch of shit wrong. And I can see it so clearly, so lucidly, so vividly, because I know that mindset. I was there. It was hell. I lived there for a long time, and there's no amount of anything that will fill that kind of desperation. So the wave of fortune is not so much about gaining. It's about gaining in the right ways that are intended for you, and shedding, which this is a fascinating part of reality transurfing, shedding a bunch of stuff that you may believe is actually helping you, but is actually acting as resistance to the wave of fortune itself, and having and allowing. And the biggest one here is importance levels. I get a lot of people that ask me, oh, so if I drop importance on money, then how am I going to pay my bills, right? If I drop importance on money and I just sit on the couch, and not try, how am I going to survive? Dropping importance or lowering your levels of importance doesn't mean that you don't try. This is not what it means. It doesn't mean, dropping importance does not mean stop taking action. What dropping importance in regards to money means to me is that I stop focusing on money itself, right? And putting it on a pedestal to the extent that I miss 99% of what's going on outside of actually getting the money. A lot of people are focused on actually getting the money. And when you have importance on actually getting the money, then you're blinded by actually getting the money. And everything else, all the means to actually achieve what it is that you want is ignored. They just, you don't even see them. So this is exactly what happened for me. And in this video, I'm going to explain how I sort of reconciled all of that stuff and took an entirely new path where now I feel full. I'm not panicked about money. I'm not panicked about anything that has to do with finances or my worth or what I feel the world owes me and all these things that I was bombarded with every moment of every day. All that stuff has subsided. It's not completely gone, but I do know that that stuff does not serve my intentions, and my new modus operandi is a lot more, it creates a lot more in my life. So before I get started on running through this video called Tap That Sector, let me remind you that this video is attached to a chapter in the book, A Tale of Practical Reality Transurfing. This is a really powerful chapter. It's a little more based in theory rather than my actual story, just because I know a lot of people are coming to this modality to get. So I want to give everyone a chance to really understand what it is that you can do to create what it is that you want to see in your life starting today. And there's lots of practical theory in here. I actually correlate a lot of my anecdotes to what was previously in the other two chapters. So it all lines up and you can see exactly how I started to truly catch my wave of success or my wave of fortune. And there's going to be a ton of bonuses in this chapter. The PDF is over 35 pages long. It's almost an hour and 45-minute audio. It's pretty extensive. We have quite a cool package of homework. There's a magnetization meditation in there that is like, it is freaking magic, guys. I have used this for the last 5 years or so, and lots of people have seen amazing benefits with this. I think the main attribute of doing this exercise is that you really dissolve a lot of that energetic resistance around you and start just inviting stuff in. And when you really invite in the means to achieve something, it's a little more successful than looking for the means, if that makes sense. I think a lot of people go into their realities like looking. But if you can just get into the motion of inviting, it just appears and is way more obvious when it shows up in your layer of reality, and then that's when you kick into action. We have a PDF that is a really powerful PDF that has two very, very long lists of attracting qualities and repelling qualities. This PDF is so simple, but it is breathtaking how many of the repelling qualities we actually do in our lives and we don't even realize it. It's kind of shocking, actually. And if I look through that repelling list, which I do pretty frequently, I go, okay, that one's starting to go away. Okay, man, I've gotten that whole swath of those are gone. I've replaced it with the attracting qualities. So it's really about catching yourself, but you kind of have to see it to know what it is you're doing. Like, oh yeah, duh. Because these things are like embedded big time into our, worldview, our thought patterns, everything that we've got going on, almost sometimes completely like autonomous. So waking up to what it is you might be doing to repel the wave of fortune coming in your direction and then replace it with a attracting quality instead. Oh my God, it's so powerful. It's almost ridiculous. Then we have a new glossary for the wave of fortune. And I think there's a couple of other things in there. Reprogramming stickers. We're going to have two options. One option is just the chapter and everything that I just described. And then we're going to have a $50 mega bonus option that is going to be called the I'm Feeling Lucky package. And this is a surprise mystery bonus for those that want to opt into it. I will actually be contacting anyone that does that directly after they enroll to give you a variety of things to choose from. And that $50 donation, if you will, is actually going to go towards paying for people that can't afford any of the chapters. So we're going to have an account that's going to help people out that aren't able to, for whatever reasons, get these chapters on their own. So check out the link in the comments and the link in the description for the details page, and you can see everything on there and opt in if it's calling to you. Okay, so first of all, what is the wave of fortune? The wave of fortune it could be money. You know, for a lot of people, the wave of fortune, the wave of success does bring financial, abundance, money. For me, it absolutely does. But even that part has started to be replaced with some other things in my life, like adventure, creative energy, really good ideas. I think at this point, if you said to me, okay, you can have the option between $10,000 right now, Renee, and a really, really bitchin' idea, I would choose the idea. Because the money doesn't really do much for me anymore. I mean, it's kind of a weird thing to say now. I'm in it for the creative, the creative liberty, the creative drive, the creative energy, adventure, a very high quality lifestyle. I know money absolutely supports that. But again, I've kind of taken care of the financial part of my life. So now the wave of fortune brings me ideas, advice, people offering to help, do something with transurfing, or, somebody asking me to go somewhere on a vacation over the summertime, that sort of stuff. So it brings whatever is meaningful to you as an individual. It can be anything, but it is specific to you. Now, the wave of fortune is our reward for having sort of mastered the first two concepts in reality transurfing, the alternative space, and then pendulums. So how this works itself out is you develop a really meaningful, substantiated connection with the alternative space. You start to, kind of venture away from that static worldview of reality. This is what I've got. This is all there is. Life sucks, whatever, static kind of theory you've been attached to. And you open yourself up to the alternative space in a way where you're like, okay, anything's possible. I can have anything. I can make new choices. I can do anything. I can create anything. I can, go down a new life track. I can get involved with a new partner. I can, all different kinds of variables start to become a little more within reach. And when this happens, I'll talk from my own experience. When this happened to me, I very clearly saw what my reality consisted of. God, I've got a bunch of options, a bunch of opportunities, a bunch of ways that I can evolve. And then as soon as those became really obvious to me, I then realized how much pendulums were in fact getting from me. So then I went about managing my pendulums to the extent that I freed myself up energetically to go into all this other good stuff where the wave of fortune existed for me. So it's the part of you balancing your understanding of the alternative space, managing your pendulums, which frees up energy, which allows you to really tap that sector. And this is really like one of my favorite sayings that I've come up with in transurfing, tap that sector. Because once you're in your reality and your eyes are wide open, you can see very clearly what's available to you. And as soon as you understand that and you can retract your energy from the pendulums that aren't serving you, then you truly can tap whatever opportunities or, endeavors that are available to you in your layer of reality. And this is exactly how the wave of fortune, is initiated. So, quickly for me, and again, this is a little bit challenging, but I'm just going to do it. What I have right now, I want to just talk a little bit about what it is that I have so people know that this is real. This isn't bullshit. This is real. I have complete financial freedom and liberty. Now, this did not come to me overnight. I'm 42 years old, and I've been, especially for the last 7 years, I've been very tuned into what is intended for me. I'm doing all the transurfing stuff. I'm maintaining my connection with the alternative space and turning away from a static worldview. I'm managing my pendulums. I'm really viewing reality as linear life tracks stacked upon each other. The top level is the wave of fortune. The bottom level is my worst, darkest induced transition. And if I feel myself, I'm probably it's pretty good for me right now. I will admit I'm probably at like an 8 or a 9. If something happens and I dip down to like a 7 or a 6, then I immediately wake up. I see myself. I see my reality. This isn't where the wave of fortune is. What do you need to do, Renee, to get yourself back up to where you fell from? And what pendulum is responsible for initiating that dip? And what do I need to do to manage that pendulum so this does not keep happening? Because this roller coaster of ups and downs and chutes and ladders and slip and slides, as we call it in the chapter, this costs me energetically. And I can take that energy instead of doing this and keep myself aware, manage my pendulums appropriately and successfully, and use that energy to do shit on my top layers that is going to help me continue the wave of fortune. So I've been at this for a while, and I know a lot of people come to this modality. I don't want to say a lot, but a fair amount of people come to this modality and they want to see instant success. And I'm just like, good luck. The thing is, reality transurfing will work instantly. It'll make you feel amazing. You'll see reality in a whole new way. Your experience of reality will be better and heightened, and all sorts of good stuff will happen immediately. But if you're looking for financial abundance after reading a book and not taking any action, go over to one of the LOA groups. That's what they're doing, right? Reality transurfing is unique in the sense that it tells you exactly what to do. And this is why I've created the book that I have, Transurfing Steps 1 through 5, a little verbose and all over the place, not a lot of practicality there. So what it is that I'm attempting to do is give you the need to know, but you got to show up, right? It's like, I'm bringing 50%, here you go, but you got to bring the other 50 and actually take the action to get yourself up to those top layers and then keep yourself there. So I've been doing this a while and it absolutely has worked. Now, for what I have complete financial liberty. I don't have a single dollar in debt. I am extremely comfortable in the monetary gains that I have. I have a bunch of stuff that has value to me personally that helps me to feel like my world has taken care of me to the extent where I'm not wanting for anything. There's nothing that I want for. About the only thing that I wanted recently was delivered to my house yesterday. It was a 2002 very low miles Cadillac Eldorado Pearl, the last year they made it, V8, and it is a bitchin' car. And they delivered it to my house, and I'm very happy with it. But I don't want for anything. And even though I have like a bunch of jewelry and nice stuff, this is all just kind of like icing on the cake. The cake is that I'm free. My time is my own. I get to do whatever it is that I want to do, whenever I want to do it. I have various endeavors that I do for money. And if I feel like, not doing one for a while and tuning into another one, I can do that. I've created paths of wealth that are easy to turn off and turn on. I really don't try to make money anymore. I know that sounds weird, but I don't try to make money. Money comes to me naturally as a attribute of, it's a reciprocal thing that I've got going on with my world. All I need to do is continue to focus on what I do well, what I am doing right, how I can affect my reality in the way that I want my reality to give back to me. And this is a huge one, and again, mind my words here a little bit. I see a lot of people demanding, wanting people or something to give them something, or feeling that they're owed something by their world. And when I found reality transurfing and really just stopped myself and said, okay, what is it that you want, Renee? Well, I want a good life, right? I want a good life. I want to feel like life is full. I want to feel as though life has promise, and I want to feel taken care of by my world. And I just want a good life. So instead of going about moving through my reality, demanding that my world show up for me in those ways, I figured out ways that I could give that to other people. This is it, right? If I want a good life, I try to help give what I believe will help others live a good life. And in doing that, man, I've got everything that I want. So freedom of time, financially, I'm no longer a part of the 9-to-5 matrix or worrying about money or hustling or anything like that. I live in my ideal location in the world. I have everything that I want material-wise. I have the 2 dogs that I want. My partner is the most loving, supportive, kind man I could have ever dreamt of in my entire life. This is also something that the wave of fortune brought me. And it came about in a way that I really didn't, not the way that I thought that it would. So I have everything I want for nothing. And this is real, but I've stayed connected to this knowledge every day for a while now. And when people say that it takes too long, or that it takes too much energy, or it's too hard, I'm like, well, what's the alternative? Going back to a life of mediocrity and, complacency and not getting what you want, not even trying, so fuck that. I mean, this is, you gotta put some muscle into it. Now, I'm not talking pure inner intention here, but you definitely gotta bring it. You gotta bring it. Your world's not gonna just flow up to you everything that you want without you doing anything. Reality just doesn't work like that. So I've got it all. So what's keeping most people from catching the wave of fortune? And what has kept me from catching the wave of fortune in the past? And again, going back to my pre-transurfing reality, I got stuff, cool stuff coming in my direction. Jewelry and cars and, all the gains any human could want. I don't want to say I didn't appreciate it, but it didn't do anything for me. Because again, I was just looking for it to fill some type of hole that never really felt like it was getting filled. And I became just jaded, and whatever came towards me was just like, okay, well, another thing's not going to satisfy me, And now everything is like valued beyond measure. Really simple things that I never believed I would put so much value into, like discovering that there was a float deprivation tank place down the street from me. I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. I can go there anytime that I want and plug into the alternative space and go into the deprivation tank, and I take advantage of it all the time. They love me there. I'm going in there like all the time. But that's like, a really good example of stuff coming to me and me really being like, what else? What else can my reality bring me that's going to enhance my experience of it? So, I know I got a little sidetracked there. Let me get back on track. What is keeping most people from experiencing the wave is this, in my opinion, from my experience, this idea that you're going to value monetary gains and, financial success with being happy and filling all those internal voids. Filling all those internal voids is what is going to bring the wave of fortune. It's the other way around. So the first thing that I want to touch on here quickly is lack mentality and shitty theories. I see a lot of people in this community, and I made this statement in the first chapter of my book, that human beings typically strive for two things: survival and being right. So the second thing, being right, is where a lot of people fuck it up pretty bad. I'm going to say I've seen a lot of people struggling. I've seen a lot of people trying different things to, achieve some sort of result. And the number one thing that I see people doing that absolutely throws a wrench into the whole thing is riding on this shitty theory and needing to be right about it. Oh, life's really hard. It's not easy. Here's a good one. And I know this is a little bit controversial, but people hating billionaires, right? People hating Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk and Bill Gates and, Warren Buffett. When you have some kind of theory, money's bad, people with money's bad, and they're evil people, and you go about reinforcing that theory in your reality, you're not going to catch the wave of fortune. I promise you that. And I'm not trying to say that you need to honor these people or anything like that, but any problem thinking, any faulty theories about money, any faulty theories about people with money or how money is made, or that life is hard, or the world's rough, or I'm always going to struggle, or I'm never going to get ahead, all that kind of stuff, man, it's like you have hung a sign up on the door of your reality, saying, wave of fortune, do not come here, I have a resistance towards financial gains. So, and all that, like hating billionaires and life is hard and all that kind of stuff, that's all lack mentality. Second, lack of reciprocity and value exchange. Oh my God. This is one where I really have to watch what I'm saying, because I sell stuff, right? I sell stuff in my other businesses. I sell stuff here. I've got courses. I'm selling the book. I've got all kinds of little transurfing things that I sell. So I oftentimes encounter people coming to me saying, why can you can't charge for that. You can't do that. And can you give it to me for free? And all kinds of stuff like that. And as soon as I see that, I'm like, start there. Start there. The way to financial independence and abundance and liberty is to learn value exchange and make friends with value exchange on both ends. I am an extremely giving person to anyone in my life that offers me something that I can use, that I find valuable. I would never ask for it for free, ever, not in a million years, because in me doing that, I'm telling my world that it's okay for somebody else to do the same to me. Getting value exchange going in your layer of reality is like a lubricant for the wave of fortune. It really is. It lubes everything up and it just makes the whole system feel good. I mean, it just feels better. So learning reciprocity and value exchange is absolutely huge. And this is something that really can't be taught in a video that's a few minutes long. If you are holding tightly onto what you have, or you're asking your reality to give you a lot, but then you don't want to do the whole give and take thing. I mean, this is really what frailing's about. It's time to really look deeply within that sort of thinking and find a way out. This is the way out of the maze. Learning value exchange for sure. 3, resistance, repelling behaviors, not giving what you desire. So I touched on this briefly when I talked about the attracting and repelling PDF. I was actually watching this really stupid show the other day. My partner had on. It was about the wealthy Chinese people in Los Angeles. I think it's called like Bling Empire. And this chick was like the fakest chick. She's the one with the red hair. And she is just so screwed up. She's so tuned away from the frail of her soul. She's so mixed up. And this guy asks her what it is that she wants. And she's like, I just want someone really honest and real. And I was like, girl, you aren't fucking getting anything close to that because you aren't honest and real. If you want something in your life, you better be in a position to give it. Asking for stuff. And this is why that statement like, how can someone love you if you don't love yourself? It's so true. Like if you are not in a space of actively feeling that state of being, actively giving, actively connecting to the other side of what it is that you're asking for, you ain't going nowhere. You're not going to get it. And this is where people struggle for years and years and years and years, where they're just doing this grabbing motion with their reality instead of, here, take this. Here, have this. How can I help you? Now, I'm not saying become like codependent nightmare, but if just look at who you are, your reality as it currently stands. Is it in line with you getting what it is that you're asking for? If you don't have it, then probably not. And how you go about getting it is actually doing the thing yourself. It's the mirror, y'all. This is how it works. Show your mirror the thing. Show your mirror the thing, and then you get it. So resistance, repelling behaviors, this is self-sabotage. Wanting something, but then not agreeing with how it's coming to you or in the way that it's coming to you. For a long time, and I'm just going to be brutally honest here, I had super, super low self-esteem, really, really bad, devastatingly low. And I just wanted someone to love me. God, I can laugh about it now, but it's fucking sad. I just wanted someone to love me. I just wanted to feel like someone really cared and someone really thought highly of me. And again, it wasn't going to happen until I started doing that for myself. But more valuably, the love that ended up coming to me, that touched me in a very, very deep way, was actually the love from people in the transurfing community and people that I shared this philosophical, body of work, these ideas. And this is the connection that I was actually longing for, and I didn't know it, right? So I didn't know that, and I thought it's romantic love. It's romantic love. I need a romantic partner that's going to love me and respect me and blah, 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 blah. And here I am just fucking hammering my reality every day, hammering the dudes in my life. You don't treat me well. And I would pick men that did not treat me well and disrespected me and didn't appreciate me or my time and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, how I ended up hooking up with my perfect romantic partner is I actually filled that void with what was going to truly help me to feel that state of being. And it was the love of the people that share this stuff with me. So then I fill that part of myself up, and then I'm not just a taker, right? And this is when the wave of fortune comes to you, bringing you all the stuff that you want, is when you're full and whole and taking care of your own needs by giving what it is that you need to give in order to connect with what it is that you're asking for, to the extent that you're just fucking neutral. And then the wave of fortune sort of comes up to you and there's no resistance there. And when you've lowered all of that kind of self-sabotage behavioral, those self-sabotaging behavioral patterns and needing, because a lot of times when a person wants something to come to them in a specific way and to look a certain way, everything else that doesn't look ideal to that vision, they'll just blow it up, self-sabotage. So it's almost like we keep ourselves in a bubble. And I know this is the case for me. I kept myself in a bubble for a lot of years. I wanted everything to look a specific way, line up to the standards that pendulums had set, that romantic love needed to look this way, and this needed to look like that, and financial freedom needed to come like this, and all these things. And I wanted to control it all. And this kept me in a bubble of resistance and self-sabotaging behavior. And the wave of fortune, don't go that way. It's not what the wave of fortune, it's not what the wave of fortune responds to. So how to catch the wave as I wrap this up? Establish a foundation of will to have. So will to have is, and I mentioned this in chapter 1 of my book, that battle cry, that siren call of like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to figure this out. I'm declaring myself worthy and deserving. Now again, it took a lot of years. I'm not going to lie. It took a lot of years. I think probably for me, it took a lot of years because I was coming from such a place of depravity and low self-worth and poverty mentality and generations old programming that was very, very, very embedded in me. And, you know, when I decided that, when that little crack started to appear and light started to come through, and I was like, God damn, I just want something better for myself. I opened that door with this, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out. But I couldn't let go of that. And I never have let go of that. And I think this is where my world is taking care of me comes in a massive way, is declaring your will to have. I put here, will to have, we're also calling it, I can't remember the term. It's in the PDF, but will to have, allowing, okay, allowing. And when I chose this state, I'm going to allow, right? This is what sort of signals to the wave of fortune that you're open, you know, you're open. But then at the same time, you've got to trust your world. You can't doubt your world. You can't make demands of your world. I go into this deeply in this chapter, the value of not placing demands on your reality, turning away from the mirror and just looking at you and what it is that you're doing, and stop staring at the reflection in the mirror, the image in the mirror. This is huge. So establishing a foundation of a will to have, allowing, and then sort of releasing yourself into the world and being like, world, show me what's up. And I trust you. I trust that you'll deliver to me exactly what it is that I need that will allow me to materialize exactly what I am allowing myself to have. It's 50% you, it's 50% your world, but you can't make it 100% you, and you can't make it 100% your world. It's a dance. And when you perfect this dance and you allow yourself to have, allowing, will to have, declaring this siren call of, I'm worthy of more, and then falling back on trusting your world. My world is taking care of me. Everything is going according to plan. Things are working out beautifully and will continue to do so with ease. And being open to what it is your world's offering you, and then moving into that space and focusing on what you can do there. This is how the wave of fortune is created. This is the energy that begins to circulate, that stirs it all up and gets it tilted over to your favor. Audacious delusion. I'll just touch on this briefly, but if you missed that video, audacious delusion, go back and take a look. Being bold. Being bold. Why am I not deserving in the same ways that I see other people having in their lives? I'm capable and I'm worthy of all the best. So this audacious delusion, not stopping, right? Ever. Not ever stopping. Not ever. Now it's not demanding and it's not asking your world to like, oh, I want $5 million. Oh, I want this. Oh, I want that. But for me, Personally, I just have a very generalized, audacious delusion that I am worthy of all the best, and everything that I am worthy of is going to come my way, and I'm going to accept it and embrace it, and I'm not going to repel it, and I'm not going to put up resistance to it, and I'm not going to insist on it or the means to achieve it my own way, right? 50% me, 50% my world. 50% me, 50% my world. So this is the final thing that I'm going to say. The third little step here on how to catch the wave. Stop making excuses and take action. People want to do nothing and do the same old shit that they've been doing, but see more come into their realities. And it just doesn't work like that. At least that's not the case for me. And it's not the case for anyone that I know personally. You've got to get up and you've got to declare your will to have. You've got to be open to the ways in which your reality is telling you to move towards those higher variations, new life tracks, new opportunities, and you gotta tap that sector, right? So not tapping that sector is you staying in complacency mode, you staying in the frozen state or in a state of inaction, and again, you putting 100% of the responsibility on your world, and you just doing the same thing that you're doing right now and expecting different results. So when I see people doing this, when I see people wanting but then not taking action, this is pure excess potential, and what it is that the person wants actually becomes further in distance in the alternative space from the person desiring it. It's the biggest way to put a gap in between what it is that where it is you currently are in the alternative space and what it is that you want. So 30 anomalous action challenge, get off your butt. I know it's like, nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do that. I've actually made myself comfortable with anomalous action to the extent that I am now very uncomfortable when not taking action, when in a state of inaction. And this has been the absolute game changer. It has flipped everything on its head. And now I have a thought, an idea. I know how to execute. I know how to move. I know how to kick into action. I know how to pull in people and resources and means to get things done. And I can organize things and I can make things happen and I can materialize my ideas and I can set them in motion. And, I go into it. And this is where the wave of fortune is. Now, if that's not for you, totally understandable. But what it is that you have right now is synonymous with exactly the actions that you are taking, nothing more, nothing less. So if you want something more, you've got to do something more. You've got to figure out what your world wants and how you can give it. You have to figure out what people want in your life and how you can give it to them that corresponds to what it is that you want to see for yourself. All of these concepts in Reality Transurfing Steps 1 through 5 and my book, A Tale of Practical Reality Transurfing, are to support the wave of fortune. This is why we're doing it. And again, it's not just about money. It's about you constantly experiencing a cascade of pleasant events and circumstances in your life. As long as you can hold that, and then when it leaves, that you've got to just keep doing what you're doing because the next wave is right behind it. Just like an ocean. It's exactly like an ocean. I'll say this right before ending, about a month ago, I hit the biggest wave I've ever hit in my life. It was long, it was extended, it carried more stuff than I could have ever imagined for myself. It was a wild ride. Now, naturally, it's starting to subside. I keep doing all that stuff that made that wave come. I don't say to myself, oh my God, that was it and it's over and now I'm going to go back to, destitute version of Renee and all this stuff. I just keep doing me. I keep focused on where the reflection originates, which is me. And I keep moving in my reality. You can't create momentum with inaction. Period. So now I'm doing what I need to do. I keep going. I keep moving. I keep generating ideas and executing them. I keep tapping that sector of the opportunities available to me. And it's working. So this is the wave of fortune, y'all. Please remember to check the details page for the, all the stuff that the chapter is going to hold. And I'll see you all in the secret book club to discuss everything in chapter 3. And thank you so much for watching. Have a good day, everybody. Bye.